Hello, I'm Robert Grant, and welcome to LearnMyShot.com. Today we take a common ordinary object and using your digital SLR camera and a wide-angle lens, transform it into something quite unique. So let's get over to the set and begin. For our image today, I've selected a stainless steel basket, commonly used on your barbecue grill, and placed it upon a shiny, reflective vinyl surface. Over the top for diffusion, we're using a tissue paper, also known as vellum, available at a good art store. Our lighting, as you see, is a single clamp lamp with a 75-watt bulb over the tissue paper. You can get that at any hardware store. The camera has a 17 to 85 millimeter zoom lens. So let's click on the light and get started. We'll use the camera on a semi-automatic mode of AV. We set the aperture and the camera will set the speed. The camera has selected a quarter of a second at our setting of f10. The light meter cursor is right in the middle, indicating a proper exposure. Set your camera to AWB for proper color. Our lens is set with the stabilizer on off, as we will be on a tripod. We're on manual focus because autofocus could be confused by the holes in our basket, and at 85 millimeters on the 17 to 85 millimeter lens. And here's our first exposure. It's a bit flat and not very exciting. So let's adjust the light. Well, I'm going to go in and just move that light lower, getting it to reflect off the vinyl surface right behind our basket. Let's take one here. Well, that's much better. We really get to see the graphic quality of the basket with the light coming through the holes and the reflection off the stainless steel surface. Our first image was at 85 millimeters, the long part of the lens. Let's open it all the way up to 17 millimeters, the widest part of the lens. Now that we are at 17 millimeters on our lens, we need to move the camera in. We do this to fill the frame with our object to get the full benefit of the wide-angle lens. We get it as close as possible, refocus, and let's take an exposure here. Well, this is getting a lot better. We've got some great highlights and shadows and a very nice wide-angle feel. But let's try something else. Let's change our lens to a wider angle lens. We'll open this lens all the way up to 10 millimeters, and it's a 10 to 22 millimeter zoom lens. Now we need to move the camera in again. We're going to push the camera right up against the set and get as close as possible, and yet that still is not close enough. So I'm going to take the object and actually move it under the lens and reposition it. The lighting stays the same because the angle of reflectance hasn't changed much. Well, that's terrific. This wide-angle lens totally changed what this object is, making it much more interesting and a really powerful image. Now let's add something for graphic interest. I have some steel ball bearings that I'm going to lay across the bottom of the basket. Let's shoot one here. I think that's beginning to work, but there's just too many. Let's take out a few. That's much better. The placement of the bearings helps accentuate the distance from front to back, lending to more of a wide-angle feel. Well, here we have our images side by side. The very first image with our 85 millimeter lens and our final image with our 10 millimeter lens. Quite a dramatic difference. Let's try one more thing. I'm going to go back to our 85 millimeter lens and do more of a close-up image. See our video called Using Close-Up Attachments for more information. And here we have our image with the 85mm lens, creating a completely different shot. Let's look at the long shot and the wide shot side by side. Here they are, each having their own graphic interest. Our wide-angle lens on the left and our long lens on the right. There's much that you can do by simply changing your lens. We hope you enjoyed this video on using a wide-angle lens with your digital SLR camera. We took a rather common object and by using a 10mm lens transformed it into something quite beautiful and unusual. So look for us again at learnmyshot.com.